We're out in southeastern Wisconsin and we are fishing a reservoir. This was an old gravel pit, not a whole lot of weeds, some rocks, and they just recently planted Christmas trees in here last winter. So we're gonna go out and using the Garmin Livescope and see if we can't find these things. I have fished this a few times before, even this year, so kind of got an idea where to start, and we'll see what we can accomplish. There's absolutely no snow on this ice, and it's very slippery. The reason why I'm not wearing creepers is because I've noticed out here especially the fish just scatter. As soon as you walk out here with any kind of cleats on, they just scatter. I'm gonna go over my setup here real quick just to kind of get started. It's real simple. It's a one-man shack. I made these PVC holders here and I put them up into this part here. They fit nicely right in there, kind of like two things. That way when you're sitting, you can just reach down and pull the rod right out or store it back in there. Got just a 6-inch laser bit and the Milwaukee drill, and then I run a couple of tip downs in here because in Wisconsin you're allowed 3 lines, so it's always nice to have a couple of tip down dead sticks fishing for you when you're not really when you're just jigging. So this whole lake, like I said, was a reservoir. It used to be a gravel pit, and I fished it for a while before they did a lot of work to it. The Boy Scouts came out here and did some structure work, like I said, putting Christmas trees and cribs and stuff in. And what I found out behind me here, this is a dam. It drops off big down that side, and there's a pipe that comes out there. Then I don't know if I can show you. Over here, there's a creek that comes in and it drops off real deep. It's like 50 feet deep over here. And this section here where I'm kind of sitting now, it kind of levels off to about 17 feet, and a lot of fish stage right up in this little bay. And then they put the Christmas trees in here, so it's pretty good. I'll fire up the Panoptix here and I'll show you what we got going on. So, like I said, I've been out here a few times. I know where these brush piles are. I got my Livescope transducer down the hole. This is the Echo Map 93 SV, and you can see here, this is the brush pile, and these are all fish stacked up here next to it. And I know by the orientation that those are basically, what do we got here? I mean, you're talking anywhere from 5 feet over all the way to 15 feet out that direction. So I'll drill a couple more holes out there, and that's all fish stacked in there. And if I turn here, you can see, yeah, they go all the way out both ways. There's another brush pile over there, so they're kind of looking like, yeah, I'd say that those fish are kind of in between these two brush piles, hiding in both of them. So let me get a couple more holes drilled and I'll see what we can do. So this is one of the frustrating things about Livescope. I started right here, and that's where I shot, and I told you guys the fish were, they're 10 between 5 and 20 feet this way, all schooled up. So you move over and you drill your holes, come back, well, they move out a little farther, and you drill your holes and they scatter all over the place. So when you come back and you check your holes, there's nothing there. Mind you, this is early ice, so it's a little bit different, but now you can see they're slowly creeping back in here towards this brush pile again. And I'm shooting out this way, but if you were to, that's where I shot originally, and I drilled holes, so we're right here. I drilled holes here and here. All those fish that were piled up there scattered. Now they're all way over here, so they moved from here where I drilled, and they flanked me all the way around. Now they're all sitting up over this direction. So I don't really know this time of year. Probably drill a bunch of holes all around where you think there's fish, and then go around and check each one of them, because they're gonna move constantly on you. So I've been fishing next to this brush pile for a little bit here. There's fish there. They're active. They're coming in and out of the brush pile, and I caught a little bass, and that's pretty much what I caught here the other day too. Originally, well, anyways, get back to it. This is what I just caught, and I changed jigs to this. It's a tubby jig with a white plastic, and I hadn't got any crappie activity at all before I changed to that. I had a pink tungsten fly on, which you would think pink tungsten and a fly, I mean, that's what crappies would love, but apparently it was not. I'm gonna get this guy back. So I just moved from that hole there. I was shooting the direction I'm in now, and I moved over here, and this is the other brush pile. You can see I'm holding my phone to do this. It's not the ideal setup, but you know, these are all fish. If I zoom back down a little bit, it gets a little better. But so, you know, these are all fish, crappies or perch or something. This is the brush pile. Comes in a little bit better, you know, because that brush pile's sitting just right over here, kind of like literally right there though. So right up here next to it, these are all fish. I'll see if I can get dropped down there while holding this. It's not easy. What I was just noticing was that this is that same tungsten tubby jig with the white plastic, and I mean, it's not a very big bait. You could see it clear as day. The fish seem to want to come up to it, but they're not real interested in eating. I mean, it is 9 o'clock in full sun on glare ice, so that's not helping matters out. I mean, what I was gonna do is change jig colors here in a second, see if that does anything. Not even jig colors, just a different color of the plastic. See more coming in. They're definitely getting more interested, but just not active at all right now. Trying to work this guy up. I'm about out of arm reach. Well, see, that's what I'm saying. They follow it right up. It's not really ready to commit to eat yet. I think what I might do is put a tip down in this hole with a little minnow on it. See if that does anything better. So the fish are definitely here. It's not real aggressive yet. Changed out the color of the plastic to a red. Same exact plastic, just a different color in red. Let's see if anything's different. Maybe it woke them up a bit. They're definitely moving faster. Reel down in this a little bit. I'm on my knees, so it's oh, we got something here. There he is. Holding your phone is not the ideal method for this, that I can tell you. Guys are gonna all have motion sickness by the time I get this fish out of the hole. There we go, a little better. And it's probably, you know, it's 9 inch maybe. Not too bad. All right, I might get this guy unlocked, and you can see, you know, there's all these fish down here, and they're probably all crappies. And you'll get so many that are just coming up and taking a look, and then all of a sudden out of nowhere, one will just cruise in like a missile and slam it. And I don't know why the difference in temperament is. All right, managed to rig my phone up into my pole holder, so we'll see if this works out any better. So it's kind of frustrating because you can tell here, you know, 8 feet out, there's more. There's probably another brush pile over there. I'm gonna try to look, but yeah, there's a brush pile on that side. So, you know, just a couple feet back and forth from around me here, there's nice size marks, but you can't move. So Panoptix, you know, the Livescope, it'll let you know, hey, there's fish a few feet away from you, which is great. But when you're on glare ice, you can't move. Try to go drill another hole next to you, those fish will be gone. So you kind of gotta use your tactics to see if you can't bring them closer to you instead of you going closer to them. But it is nice to see. I'm gonna switch it to down view here. And okay, so I'll go back here. If anybody is wondering about these things, on Livescope, you don't really change your transducer angle that much. Well, then I got some action here. 2 of them there now. Oh, well, you witnessed that. That was just a horrible hook set. I'll show you here. I'll switch it to down view in a second here. These fish don't want to play. A couple of them coming in with a competition now. One thing I've found is if I let the jig just sit still, I don't think it's spinning because it's all pretty straight down there, but if I let it sit still, they're not really interested. If I'm just, you know, doing kind of big sweeps, they're not really interested. But if I just, you know, pound the tip of the pole where you just feel the percussions of that jig, it's not really moving, it's just pounding in one spot, they're definitely become more active. They'll come and investigate it. It must make a pounding sound with the jig going down onto the end of the line. Even maybe the line in the eye isn't as transferring down. I'm not positive, but come on. There we go. Definitely been a very subtle bite. Oh, and the easy release there, jig comes right out. Come on. So, there we go. So it's definitely a school of crappies down there. I've caught them as big as 14, 15 inches in this little lake here, but it's not the biggest ones here right now. Now I'll switch this to down view and show you guys what that's like. You know what? This is not optimal for the view, that's for sure. I'm fishing directly below the transducer, so turning it doesn't really make that big of a difference. It's going to kind of show you what's right around you. But sometimes it'll help your jig show up a little better when fishing right below. But I mean, you know, that's the frustrating part, like I was saying, is that here you can see all these fish piled up here. They're 6 feet away, you know, 2, 4, starting 4 to 6 to 8 feet away. You just can't go drilling a hole over there. They'll scatter. So if you want to go into down view, what you do is you're in this menu, sonar setup, installation, orientation, down. And that's going to give you now what it's doing from your actual transducer. I'm pointing this direction technically. This direction for me is, let me think about this. This direction for me is over here. So it's giving you, 10 feet on each side from where it's pointing, and then you get a couple feet because it's 20 degrees, so you get a couple feet side to side. But this is nice, kind of hones you in a little bit. One of the things is, you're fishing in 18 feet of water. If you go through and you select your range and you try to bring it like, well, I'm going to make it a little bigger, what you do is you cut down on your side to side how far it shoots out. So you almost want to set your depth a little higher, a little deeper, I should say. And then you'll get out a little wider away from yourself. You can see where the fish are coming from. Let's see if this is any better. The jig I'm using, I don't know if I showed you the color or not. Let's see if I can even find where the hell camera is. So this is it. It's I got it at the ice show a few years ago in Milwaukee, but it's a real soft plastic, a little insect, little bug. I was using the white and they wanted nothing to do with it. They seemed to like the red better, but they didn't want a pink tungsten bug or tungsten fly. Oh, well, two of them came up, or one came up, the other one came up. They got, I missed that hit. That's not good. What I do need is to put like a spring bobber onto this pole. It's a Jason Mitchell series. I guess it's a meat stick. I'm not sure what. 28M. It's the tip's a little bit firm for what I'm doing here, but we'll see. Drop down below that guy. If you get just one, if one fouls it up, they're definitely not as interested as if they have, the competition there. You've heard a lot of people say that, but as soon as you get a couple there, they're thinking, nope, I'm gonna be the one to eat it. So I got a couple, 2, 3 of them on there now. You can see though, with this Livescope, if you look at, say, this fish right here, it's obviously a much bigger mark. Some of these ones that are over here, there just might be a little bit out of the cone also by the direction. But you can pick out the bigger fish, and it's fun to see. Sometimes you'll see over in this area, there's nothing there. There's no reason for them to go, but they'll always kind of gravitate to one side or to the other. And they'll come over and investigate your jig and swim back. Just gonna pound in one spot and see. There we go. This is very clear water in this lake too, and got 4-pound test fluorocarbon on. Definitely coming over. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna leave the same jig on. I'm just gonna take that plastic off and go back to a different color. I don't want to move my phone, I'd show you guys a little more, but so this is what I got. You know, I got a bunch of these fly jigs I ordered from a guy on Facebook. He hand makes them out of Michigan. And then just my assortment of other stuff. And I have these plastics here. I have a white, and some of them are, when you mix them and let them sit together, the red will kind of dye the white ones. So what I'm gonna do is try this clear. For some reason I've had pretty good success with clear. So we'll switch over and we'll see what that does. We gotta get this a little better, there we go. All right, so this would be the first drop with just that clear, the clear plastic on. You can see that school kind of moved off here. There was a little bit up here in front of me. So this is the same jig with clear plastic, same exact plastic, just in a clear color. We'll see if it gets them motivated at all. Couple right there. One of them looks like a bigger mark. You could tell on the Livescope, a lot of times you could tell the length of the fish. You'll see like a fluttering motion. You see like the mass of it, and then towards the back, which would you'd assume would be the tail, you'll see a fluttering motion. You can start to differentiate between the size of fish because of that flutter. Like, I don't know if you could even see this or not. It's not great, but you'll see the fish itself, and then right back here behind it you'll see a little flutter, and that's the tail motion actually going. I'm sure you saw that, but they're definitely not interested in this color jig. So I have a tin of waxworms. They weren't really interested in that at all before, but what I'm going to try to do here, I threaded one on, just like you would a tail, but it's live bait. We'll see if, maybe scent, we'll see if that has any difference. I mean, that's what's kind of nice, you know. You could do it with all graphs, obviously, but with the Livescope, it's easier to find out where these fish are and where they're going. So, you know, if you were to be using a regular flasher, you're only going to have, what, 18 degrees, 16 degrees. So in 16 feet of water, you're not going to have that big of a footprint down there. It's hard to see, you know, where the fish are going. That one. Was a bigger mark. It's probably a bass. There's a lot of small bass, like, you know, between 10 and 16 inches all through here. So I'm guessing that mark is a bass. It's pretty long mark. Maybe we'll find out. But there's also walleye and trout in here, so you never know. There has been times that I had my underwater camera down, and I was actually on Winnebago. We were fishing for perch, and there was schools of perch down there, and you could sit and you could watch on the underwater camera. You can watch those fish suck the bait in and out with the spring bobber on, suck it in and out of their mouth over and over again, and you absolutely could not see the rod tip move, even the slightest bit. You couldn't see your line jump, nothing. So now this is expensive technology here, and you can watch the fish come right up and they'll sit right on your bait. Chances are they're sucking it in and out of their mouth, but there's not really any way of knowing. That's why every piece of equipment has its plus and minuses. So with those bigger marks down there, I got an idea. Have this blade bait. It's I bought them on eBay. It was like a 6-pack of these cheap blade baits. And they work really good for vertically jigging. The only problem is the hooks like to come around and get hooked up on themselves, so you gotta fix that once in a bit. I should put smaller hooks on it, but if those are bass that are down there, this might get them fired up. Well, we made it back home. In that last clip there, my phone died. It's not really, like I said, the optimal way to be filming these videos. Got pretty cold, my phone was sitting out, and it just died, so the battery didn't last. I didn't really catch much more, and since my phone was dead, I didn't want to be out on the ice by myself without any way to contact people, so I wrapped it up. I will do another video for you guys, maybe get into more depth, try to get on a better bite, maybe go out at night, and we'll see you next time.